Amazing. Hmm. Okay. 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 All right. Thank you. Thank you. I am. Thank you. I'm seeing the comments. Thank you so much. Um, uh, Great. Wow. Awesome. 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 Okay. The second group of people that I would like to know is you are currently in a job, or you are currently you own your own thing, no matter how small it is. You're currently in a job, whether part-time, full-time, remote, or you own your own thing. Just signify. Interesting. Interesting. Currently in a job. Okay. Part-time. Interesting. Mm. Oh wow, I make braids. Okay. Thank you so much. This is interesting. I will do a brief introduction on my video so that you can all see me. Interesting. Thank you so much. I have a small business. We'll talk about it. There's something about small businesses that we'll talk about today. Hmm. I work currently and I also run an NGO. Pere, I think I know Pere. I mean, come on, Pere, I know you. You are popular, if to say the least. Well done, Pere. It's nice meeting you somewhat somehow again. Um, wow, freelance content creator. Wow, your industry is blowing up. Content creation. If you capitalize on it, although very hard to scale, but if you can capitalize on it, it is an emerging industry. Content creation is going nowhere. I was in a master class over the weekend, and then we're talking more about content creation. I think I might still have the daughter here, and I said quickly bring it up. Yeah, they say strategy is key, content is queen, context is queen, and content is king. That's the hallmark of the masterclass. Strategy is king, context is queen, and content is king. So if you're in a content space, you might want to really capitalize on that space. Do it differently, do it uniquely, grow from it. I work currently and also run. Oh wow, okay, interesting. Okay. Um, Let me quickly introduce myself. See, turn up my video. Hi, hello. Right. For some people who might be wondering what I look like, this is what I look like. Sorry if I disappoint you, but I'm not sorry. This is what I look like. Interestingly, Abio, even me, self, I found myself like this. I don't know how, right? My name is Kingsley Butuku Edwin, and I work with Wave Academy. I work as a sales associate. That's in one word or two words, or at least the word that you can understand. But basically, my job is project coordination across different projects that we are having. Just this year alone, I have done projects on, do name it, right? I've done projects on solar energy training. I've done projects on leadership training. I've done projects on fashion training, retail training. I've done projects on tech training. In fact, I'm currently doing a project on tech training. Um, I don't know, different. I'm currently in conversation to do a church project, and also a WAPA project, which is, a project in partnership with government. I'm into Ibadan, just doing projects for Ibadan, the Oyo State government. That's what I do for a living. I like coordinating projects. I don't like the administrative part of it, don't get me wrong, but I like the engaging part of it. I like the strategic part of it, if you understand what I mean. That is what I do, 9 to 5. By the side, I am by the side I run an investment firm called Adera. We invest in key sectors and industries of the African economy. Um, we have really focused on real estate for now, and we do real estate financing, especially off-plan buildings. Off-plan buildings just simply means buildings that are not visibly erected yet, and then we partner with developers to erect those buildings, and then we sell, we lease, or we rent when when the project is completed. Sounds simple, but it's very, very difficult. Um, yeah, but that is me and what I do for a living. Thank you so much. Okay, so today's conversation is quite interesting. Path to potential, building your career journey. I'll be having this conversation with my story in mind. When I heard about this topic, I couldn't just help but reminisce a lot about where I started from and how my journey really really started. My journey is not completed. In fact, I've not even scratched the surface. I'm still in my 20s. I'm not even married or anything yet. So my journey is nowhere near completion, but it's off the starting blocks, if that's the best way to put it. So just reminiscing back of how my journey started, I began to understand some of the things that I couldn't understand at that time. So there will be a lot of stories that we share today, and hopefully we can have a very, very interesting workshop today. I listed a little bit about what we wanted to get out of this conversation today, and I couldn't be more glad. Also, by the demography of the people that are here, some people are already charting their path. Some people, are in between jobs. Some people, are just taking the three things at a time. They are, in between jobs. They're part-time. They're freelance. It's amazing. It's amazing how we are trying to find our path, in this little rock called Earth. Without further ado, let us go into our session today. Idara, please can you help me? I thought I was the one presenting. Idara, please help me go to the next slide. The almighty, amazing Idara. Right. So the next slide just simply says path to potential, building your career journey, right? And this is where we start our journey. Anywhere you don't understand, please just jot it down. Um, we will be having a Q&A session at the end of the conversation. So I would like to hear a lot of questions. I like more of a thoughtful conversational questions, if you understand what I mean. Not really a yes or no question. Let's make it thoughtful. Let's make it conversational. Let's relate with it so that people can begin to digest and understand where we are coming from, our key points. We don't have to, say a long word, but we have to be thoughtful in what we are saying and, make it really, really conversational rather than just a yes, no question and answer session. So path to potential, what does that even mean? Building your career journey, what does that even mean? We'll find that out in the next slide. So Idara, please the next slide. Great. Understanding your career journey, right? The first thing that we have to understand is we have to be aware of our starting blocks. I said I was going to use my own personal story. Um, Now, everybody's starting block, first of all, is very, very, very different, right? Your starting block is not the same as my starting block. My starting block is not the same as your starting block. The key word here is be aware, right? That is where it starts from. Everything that we're going to talk about today starts from awareness, right? Um, you would hear people often say, "Oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do." That's correct. You might not know what you want to do or where you want to start from. But if you have done something that you are no longer doing, then you know what you don't want to do, right? And that just helps you streamline your path to finding what you want to do. Right. So for example, if I don't know what I want to do, but I have dabbled into selling bags and I don't want to sell bag again, I still might not know what I want to do, but I do know that I don't want to sell bag again. And that just really helped me. So that's one of the self-awareness procedures that we have to take in for ourselves. For me, it started in 2017. And the biggest self-awareness for me obviously was my complexion. 2017 was the time I really put myself out there, to get knowledge, you know, uh, go and try stuff out. And it quickly dawned on me that my biggest roadblock obviously was my complexion, because people will think twice before, they give you some certain level of opportunity, even though or even if you have the same you have the same competency as to other guys that are not albino in complexion. So it became my biggest challenge. And the first thing I had to do was to deal with that self-esteem issue, right? Um, and after that was taken outside of it, I realized at that time I couldn't realize it, but now looking back, I realized that part of the way I deal with the issue, which I do not advise anybody to do, is I thought that by doing double of what my peers were doing at the time, I would appear more competent, right? So I started doing double of what my peer was doing. I had the opportunity to intern an organization, to tell you how intense my internship was. Time was 9. I would be there by 6:30. It got so intense that the third month of my internship actually gave me the key to the organization, the key to the office, right? Because I was so coming early that they thought, you know what, just hold on to the key. But I also came with these responsibilities, right? Because I'm with the key and I'm the first person to come. I can't work in a dirty place, right? So I need to sweep, and everybody just become really relaxed. So that double effort, double working. Thinking back now, I figured that was good, but I think I overdid it at some point. So yes, for you, your starting block could be your starting block could be your family. Yes, for you, your starting block could be your family. I just had a conversation with somebody who is the first daughter of the family, and boy, I never knew that first daughters have that level of responsibility, even at a very tender age, right? So first, be aware of your starting block, right? I think it was somebody who was saying the other day that it is not fair how we judge ourselves, right? Sometimes we judge ourselves with people who they are the third generation of wealth builders in their family. Their grandfather did not go to school, but ensure that their great grandfather did not go to school, but then ensure that their grandfather went to school, and then their grandfather went to school, and then ensure that their father had a PhD, and now they did not just have a third generation educators in their family, they are also standing at the back or at the shoulders of those generations, and then you are comparing them to a you that you are the first generation in your family that is even getting a higher education, right? In fact, some of us we are the first generation that is even breaking that barrier of educational system or dynamic in that generation. So it's really unfair that you are not aware of these starting blocks, right? Because then you start asking yourself, this person went to school, I went to school, why is it not? I mean, come on, they are in their third generation. So you have to be aware of these starting blocks. It is very important. That's where our journey really, really starts. The second one is craft your story. A lot of people if I start asking us to tell our story, it will be as shocked you will be shocked to realize that despite the beautiful stories we have from our childhood, we have not really sat down to craft our story. Have we really sat down to craft our story? Um, we don't even know how to tell our own story. What happened in your childhood? How do you connect it to what you are doing now? How do you connect it to your belief system, to your value system? How do you craft your story? um the best thing that happened to you in your childhood, worst day in your childhood. Why did you chart this path? Why are you doing what you are doing? Why is your name, right? Why am I bearing Ugochukwu Kingsley? What is the meaning of your name? What is the story behind your name? We have not really sat down to craft it. I think that's the best assignment that I would give in this workshop, to say, I don't know how I will collect my assignments back. but I trust that we'll do this assignment, right? The first thing is we need to go back and craft our story. I think that one way that I would track it is I don't know if they are in the WhatsApp group, if they are in an alumni WhatsApp group. Can they share their story on the alumni WhatsApp group? Craft it if you're in this room, if you're in this journey, if you're in this Zoom meeting. After the meeting, please craft your story. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. Share it on an alumni WhatsApp group. Also share it with on your LinkedIn. Share your story, craft your story. Um, I wish I had time. I would have really talked a lot about how to craft stories, what to do, what to say, what not to say. Start, middle, end, emotional stories. There are different ways to craft our story. Um, but I will leave this craft your story with one note, right? If anybody here loves reading, there is a book that can really help you craft your story, and the book is The Storyteller's Secret, I think by Carmen Gallo. Yeah, The Storyteller's Secret. The Storyteller's Secret. Go read that book. That book will help you craft your story. Let your story be the first thing that people hear or see about you, right? Let your story echo your name. So that when people hear your name, it tells a story. What story are you telling? Now I know people are wondering, so how does that concern my journey to career path? We found out, we will find out soon. In fact, there will be no journey to a career path if there's no story to it, yeah. If you agree with me, just put on an emoji on the chat box. There will be no journey to a career path if there is no story to tell, right? It's okay if it's not figured out yet. Yeah, I think this goes out the hand in crafting your story. Some of us know how to tell our story, don't get me wrong, but we want our story to be perfect. We have watched a lot of Nollywood that we like a perfect story. No, um, no, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay. I said at the beginning of this presentation that even my journey is not even I've not even scratched the surface yet. So my story is not even perfect. It's not completed. I said earlier that I'm still in my 20s. I have not even done anything. Yeah. So my story is still in the infant stage, but yet it's still a story, right? It's still a beautiful one to say the least. So yes, your story doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to figure your story out. You don't have to. I think one thing I also see a lot of people do is that they want to tell all the bad and emotional parts of their childhood, how the family treated them bad. That is part of your story, but that is not the whole of your story, right? It doesn't have to be figured out. Tell those stories, don't get me wrong, but also tell the good side of your story. Tell it in a balanced form. Tell it, the more you refine it in your head, the more it refines in your mind, right? The more it's a practical journey, right? So it's not a one-time thing. Don't
Okay, hi everyone. I think Kingsley's network logged in out. So let's give him some time to.
right. Dara, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Okay. Okay, you can go ahead. Hello, Kingsley, are you there?
Interesting. Wow, I apologize. My network
Okay.
just yes. My network just blew me out of the room. Okay. So the third point that I have here is it's not risky. It's not risky. It's just unknown. All right. The path to career journey is not risky. A lot of people tend to target so you are finding your career path is very risky. No, How can it be risky if you don't know it? Right? You don't know. How do you know it's risky? Right? The first thing is knowledge. It's not risky. It's just unknown, right? Um, Changing career path is risky. Finding career path is not. Because changing career path means you already have one and now you are changing to one, right? Or changing to another. But finding one, it's not risky. It's just unknown. If there's nothing you're taking away from this conversation, is to put this at the back of your mind. For those of us who have been wanting or longing to do something, maybe some of us want to start a business, maybe some of us want to try a new career or want to try a new industry. It is not risky. It is really just unknown. The last one I put here is just ah. Oh, I wish I can say it in a different format. And you see how excited I am. I'm excited because I'm living in my path. I'm living in my thing. I'm in started, right? Um, one of the worst advice that I've ever heard in my life. Let me tell you, it was from a former colleague. We were doing our thing growing up and we were interns. And then he walked up to me and said, Kingsley, you're an albino and you are very smart and outspoken. If I were you, I will start an NGO foundation for our people living with disability, especially albinos. And I was like, okay, I don't even know that albinos were disabled people. That's new. But
Okay, so I think Kingsley's network
I'm
again.
so
Not
sorry. The weather is really messing with my internet. Dara, can you hear
okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. So I think maybe you can off your video. Maybe it's going to be able to, at least for now. Then when it's time for questions, you can on your video back. Maybe it's going to help the network. At least it's just um one resource that you're using. That is your mic. Would that help? I think he has logged off again. Kingsley, can you
Hi,
hear me?
Dara. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I said it will probably help. Okay, if
Yes,
you off
loud
your.
and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right. Guys, I sincerely apologize. The weather, the network, we will power this through. I believe.
Okay, okay. So
I
Kingsley,
believe
did
we'll
you hear
power
what I
this through.
said? I think you
Right.
should.
So the guy gave me the advice, and I was like, oh, I did not even know that albinos were disabled people. But now I know. All right. But why am I starting a foundation for albinos?
Kingsley, did you hear what I said? Kingsley,
What did you say?
can you hear me? So I said that maybe you should off your video for now
Yes.
because of poor network, so that your audio can be playing. Because I think that way the network will just be concentrated your on your mic, so that you don't start breaking up. Then towards the ending of the session, you can now on your video. Hope this helps.
Interesting. This helps. I mean,
Okay.
you've seen my face enough.
Okay, no problem.
Is it better
Just
now, though?
yeah, it's better. Just go on.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. Anyway, I refuse to take the advice because of one big thing about me, right? Is I love wealth. I want to have money. Money for me is not the beginning of evil. I want to have money. I want to have a lot of it. I want to be on Forbes list. I want to be the richest person on planet Earth. And I don't know how, I don't know, I don't see how, running a foundation, at least as at that time, will help me achieve that. So I ditched the idea and I wanted to do something for profit, right? Now, it
I
doesn't
see.
mean for those of us who want to do foundation or NGO, it's not a bad thing, don't get
That's
me wrong.
what
It's
is
really just
talking about.
my part.
Yeah, Femi say no go do shadow work. Why? Eh? Say because that last
Somebody's
month
mic is unmuted.
you do shadow work for over 1 month.
Can we mute our mic? Thank you. Right. It really just means that my part was different, right? And then I wanted to do something very, very different. The next slide, Dara, I think we are beginning to get into the dynamics of finding our career path. Great. So the first thing is define your objective. Now, if you look at the slide, I'm sure a lot of us already have an idea. We already know what this is. Goal setting, we need to set realistic goals. True. We know what this means. But first, there is something about repeating it again. A cliche is a cliche because it's true, right? So first is define your idea. Let it be very, very defined, right? Your objective is what I put here, but I want to change it to ideas. Your goal, define it very well. Remember I said at the beginning that it doesn't have to be perfect. So leave, the way I like to put it is leave space for wonder, right? Why defining your objective, leave space for wonder. Don't set your objective as the only rock and the only thing, and there is no space. No, no, it's a career path, right? The way I'll put it to you is imagine if your goal is to be a footballer. You've always dreamed to be a footballer. Maybe you have been dreaming since childhood that you are the next Cristiano Ronaldo, or you are the next Messi, or you are the next Mbappe or Vinicius Junior. I'm a Real Madrid fan, by the way. And your first day on pitch as a professional footballer, God forbid you had a very terrible injury that would not allow you play football again. What happens then, right? A lot of people will say, "Oh, my career is over. I can't play football again." A lot of people would, when go into depression. While some people will say, "Okay, I might not be able to do football again, but I am sure that I can do, I don't know, coaching. I am sure that I can start doing commentary. I am sure that I can start, doing football analysis. I am sure that I can start doing, you know, being a football agent, run a football academy. Even though you are not working in what you have actually started out to do, you are still in the space of your career, right? So leave a little space for wonder. Set smart goals. I won't talk much on this. I believe everyone here is very smart. Let your goal be very specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. A lot of people are confused as if I want to set a 5-year goal, how do I set it measurable? No, no. If you are setting a goal, especially in your career path, set it max 3 months, right? There is a book called The Lean Startup. Although the book is concentrated on business and all, there is something we can learn about it in charting our career path. And the book talked about how to really run a proper company. And there is this idea in the book that says build, learn, iterate, build again, right? So rather than spending resources, spending money, or spending time in building something you can't learn or you can't iterate fast, build an MVP. Build something as cheaply and as fast as possible, push it out, learn from it, make your mistake, build again, right? We can take the same approach to finding our career path, right? Which means we can set a very short goal, pursue it like our life depends on it, learn from it, go again, right? The most important part is we learn from it and we go again. We learn our mistake, we learn our opportunity, and then we go again. Oh, somebody say I'm sounding far away. Let me come a little bit close to my laptop. The third point here is the philosophical in your vision. A lot of people do not talk about this. Name of the book is The Lean Startup. The Lean Startup. I've forgotten the name of the author now. I think before the end of the presentation, I should get the name of the author. But the name of the book is The Lean Startup. The Lean Startup. The last one is the philosophical in your vision. A lot of people don't say much about this, but this is very, very, very important. Now I know it somewhat contradicts, set goals and all. Yes, you should set goals, but be philosophical in your vision. The problem that I've seen with a lot of Africans, especially this my generation, the younger generation, is we have a very short-term view of vision, right? We jump on trend too quickly. We we conclude too quickly. We assume too quickly. We build too cheaply, right? And I'm using my generation cheaply here. I'm using it very careful, very, very carefree. We jump on trend too quickly. If you look at the global space and you look at organizations, for example, who have who have who have stayed, you know, who have stayed through thick and thin, organizations that have stayed 40, 50, 30 years, maybe more than 50 years. If you look at their core, you would see that they have goals, don't get me wrong, but they are very philosophical in their vision. And you would hear it from their brand, you would hear it from the way they speak. And this is not just organization, countries, right? And I'll give some example. The very first example I'll give is Google, right? Everybody uses Google. But do we know what Google vision statement is? Google has a philosophical vision statement. Anybody, any idea what Google's philosophical vision statement is? Put it on the chat box. Okay. Oh, yeah, somebody help me with the book. Yes, somebody help me with the book. Okay. Don't worry, I would ask question by the end of the presentation. Anybody, Google's vision statement, you know what it is? Hmm. We all use Google. We might be using Google as we speak, but we don't know their vision statement, right? Okay. We can put it on the chat box. You can put it in the chat box. If you want to answer, you can just raise your hand. I think I'll just take one or two so that I can hear another person's voice. Vision statement, Google's vision statement. Anyone? Anyone? Oh, okay. I see Ajibade raised his hand. Ajibade, please go off mute. I would like to hear what you think.
Okay. Someone actually just puts it on the group, but what it is to provide access to the world's information in one click.
Interesting. Thank you so much. That's their vision statement, yeah. But they interestingly have a philosophical vision, right? And their philosophical vision is one word or a sentence that if you ask any Google employee any time of the day, what is Google? This is what they will tell you. We exist, do no harm. We exist to do no harm. And how do I learn this? I learned this from I think it was a video of a friend who happened to he got a scholarship and he happened to visit the Google headquarters, on scholarship. And that was where he found out this philosophical vision statement for every employee. He exists to do no harm. Isn't that interesting? It doesn't that captures everything Google does, right? So back to you. What's your philosophical statement? Why did you exist as a person? Remember at the beginning of this conversation, we talked about what is your name? What does it mean? What's your story? Right? What's your philosophical vision statement? Idara, next slide. Great. We are getting into the heart of this presentation. Acquire and embrace relevant skill set. I want us to pay attention to the point of relevant, right? I mean, yes, please acquire skills, but make sure it's very, very relevant. And how do you know relevant skill? Part of the ways you know relevant skill is to look at a broader view of the global economy, right? Look at the global economy. What is the global economy saying? Where are we? Okay, my network is bad. Okay, apologize for your network. Mine also is experiencing some glitches. Okay. Where are we on a global scale, on a global economy? How are we heading? Where is the global economy heading to? There's been a lot of conversation about AI. A lot of I mean, how many of us remember when the tech conversation started? Everybody jumped into coding. Everybody started coding. I tried to, but my ancestors reminded me of my place. I think I only did that for a day and then I knew it wasn't for me. Right? So now it's AI. Everybody wants to build AI, wants to jump on AI. There is a global economy heading. It is not for you to jump on trend. It is for you to acquire relevant skill that will make you stay relevant regardless of where the global economy is heading. Yeah. So acquire relevant skill. Maybe relevant skill for you is not to know AI or to do anything or create AI. Maybe relevant skill for you is to learn different way of communicating. Because the way you're communicating today, AI will communicate it better than you. Right? Maybe your own relevant skill is to learn how to think. Because the way you are thinking today, any small thing, Google, any small thing, that GPT, if you continue thinking that way, AI will take over your job, right? Maybe for you, your new skill set is to learn presentation, because the way you are presenting today, a robot will do it better than you in 30 years, right? Maybe a new skill for you is to learn emotional intelligence, because the way you are going about this your career journey and life, AI will do it better than you. So I don't know what your skill set should be, but make sure it's relevant, right? It doesn't have to be new, shining, but it does have to be very relevant. Invest in continuous learning and skill development. I applaud every single person in this meeting. The fact that you are here, you're already doing this already.
Hi, is it just me? But I can't hear you anymore. Please me.
I also can hear you.
Kingsley here. I think his network too. Was unmuted.
Yep, I am back. My
Okay.
network again.
Okay, no
Thank you,
problem.
Idara. Yes, so we are all here. I will power through this today. I don't know what the network wants to do. I almost said the enemy. Right. So yes, I mean I applaud you guys for being here. Identify areas of improvement and seek feedback. Remember our conversation about lean startup? This is the whole idea. Is that you make your life an ecosystem from building to learning to iteration and then building again. The whole ecosystem falls under the umbrella of improving and feedback, right? So you build in a very, very sharp, cheap space. You learn through people, you learn through feedback, and then you go back and iterate and improve, and then you come back and build again. Make your life that kind of systematic machine when it comes to skills development, right? A lot of people will spend 2, 3 years on a skill only to come out at the other side of that skill to realize, oh my God, this skill was not even relevant in the first place, right? And the reason why I was learning it is now obsolete, right? So learn as quickly as possible. ask for feedback, ask for improvement, go back, iterate, learn again. The last one here is velocity is better than speed. Yes, this is very important. A lot of people think, I mean, when I mean speed in professional development, I mean speed in terms of, I'm sure we know somebody that attends every seminar. This person is in every conversation, every training is available. No, no, no. That's you running speed to nowhere, right? Velocity is better than speed. And the best way to put this is, have you seen, imagine you are in a car that is on a speed, going on a high speed to a wrong direction. The car might be on a very, very top speed, but it is going on a wrong direction. Now imagine you are in a car that is on a velocity, is not moving that speed, but it's going to the right direction. So which one would you better? Would you rather be, right? I would rather be in a car that is not speeding to the wrong direction, than a car that is speeding to nowhere. So velocity is always better than speed. In your professional development, it is not who has all the certificates. No, no. You can have all the certificates, but if you have not developed yourself mentally, emotionally, if you have not developed your competence, your character, you are just running at speed. You have not developed the core competence of who you are. Idara, next slide. We have to be fast. Adaptability, yes, adaptability. Embrace change and growth. Embrace change and growth. The best, when I think about adaptability and embracing change and growth, I think of a book. I know I keep recommending books to us because I know that, I mean, what we are doing here can only be done here. We can't do this every single day. But if you have a book you are reading that can constantly remind you, it will really help you through your journey. And the book is Who Moved My Cheese? Some of us must have or may have read that book, Who Moved My Cheese? The book talked about change and adaptability and growth, right? It's a very short book. I think it's about 120 hours of listening. I listen to my book, so yeah, I think it's 120 hours. Sorry, that's a 120, 1 hour, 20 minutes. 120, 1 hour, 20 minutes book that you can just listen to. Who Moved My Cheese? So the idea of adaptability here is that you need to quickly identify, you need to quickly change, and you need to quickly position, identify, change, position, right? I mean, how many of us have not adapted since at least 2020, right? And I can count 5 big things that have happened to us in as much as we're in Nigeria since 2020. COVID happened to us. We have fuel scarcity. We have the Naira redesign policy. We have recession. We have, I don't know, election. My God, in the space of 4 years, and yet we are here, right? We have adapted. I mean, we are recently adapting to the Naira going up, way up, and now coming down, way down, and now going up again. It seems like like a never-ending cycle, and yet we are adapting. Now that's the path of growth for me. Be open to new challenges, new roles, and experience. Some roles will not tell you what you are getting into, right? The role looks nice on paper until you get into those roles, right? But be open to learning. You don't need to fit in, you just need to belong. Yeah. This was something I coined recently. In fact, I think I heard it first yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, at a meeting. You don't need to fit in, you just need to belong. Yeah. Um, yeah, I like this person who just helps me. Ayomide, is that your name? Thank you so much. You just really just helped me look for the book and just share. You don't need to fit in, you just need to belong. And that's a part of adaptability. Have you ever seen people who wants to fit in into a new group? So they are losing their self in order to fit into this group. They're just trying everything. They're losing their respect. They're losing their value. They're losing their confidence. They're losing their identity. But that's not the way to go. That's not adaptability. That's you trying to fit in. You don't need to. You just need to belong. Part of belonging is really just freeing yourself, embracing change, embracing new opportunity, understanding that not everybody would agree, would believe, would see life with the same lens that you are seeing life, and just really to enjoy the process, right? This is the if you're not taking anything away from the topic, this adaptability conversation is this: you don't need to fit in, you just need to belong. Um, Next slide, Dara. Thank you. I think there is another conversation on the chat box, but I'm loving it anyway. I'm reading it and I'm enjoying it. Now, from this slide, we are no longer giving points. We are now having a conversation, right? And I think I would rush through this slide. Don't worry, guys. I will speak to Idara to see if we can give you guys this slide. Just something you can always just brush through sometime if you need some level of motivation to get by in building your career path. Network, build, manage, nurture, and keep relationships. Yes. Says here, cultivate a strong professional network, connect with peers, mentors, and industry leaders who can offer guidance, support, and valuable insight into career advancement and opportunity, right? Network like your life depends on it. But remember all of our conversation. Remember our conversation about your story, about how you fit in. Remember our conversation about your style, your. Remember all this conversation before building network, because at the foundation of building your network is you. And remember our name, right? Remember that conversation. What's our name? What's our story? How are we crafting our story? What are we telling to people? Are we always playing victim? Yeah, people like playing victim. I was done wrong in childhood. I was this in childhood. My childhood was messy. So therefore, this is why. Please, no, no, no. Never play the victim mindset when building relationships. So cultivate strong relationship with people. And be valuable to people. Be a butterfly in people's life rather than being a mosquito or bedbug or cockroach. They are all insects, yeah. But be a butterfly. If you can't help them, at least beautify their life. You can't help them. Do not leave them worse than you found them, right? Be a butterfly in people's journey. And part of that is really just cultivating these beautiful relationships. Next slide, Dara. You can hear me. Next slide. Resilience, overcome challenges. Yes. Everything that I've been talking about for the past 45 or so minutes, is very sweet though. It's really good. It's good to hear, but it's very difficult, right? It says here, resilience is essential for navigating setback, which you would get. You would get a lot of it, and obstacles along your career path. Learn from failures, stay persistent, and maintain a positive mindset to overcome adversity. This is very, very important, right? Resilience is, I think what I learned recently about resilience is, interestingly, resilience is different to different people, right? What I will be resilient about, Dara might not be resilient about it. And I'll give a good example. Um, I think I was in a call earlier when somebody was introducing herself and she said she's a lash technician, if I got that correctly. Lash technician. And I begin to wonder what on earth is the lash technician. I am literally just hearing that term for the first time in my entire life. And guess what? Idara was even saying that, oh, she would like to learn from it. I can imagine if you ask me to be resilient in that space. I mean, I will give up in the slightest, I will give up in the slightest setback because I have no idea, right, of what that means, right? But I can't say the same for the lady because that's her path. that's her journey, that's her story, that's her thing. So she would always be resilient to lack vision setbacks. And I can imagine the setbacks that that can that can occur in that space. I can just imagine, right? So yes, resilience is different for different people. Um, but you have to be regardless of where you find yourself. Some people are very, very, very hard. Um, some people some people switch. It's okay, whatever works for you. But remember that your journey will not be a journey. I mean, somebody said recently that if you take suffering from story, you lose character. If you take suffering from story, you lose character. So be resilient and then enjoy your journey. It's like that. Hey, Dara, if you can hear me, next slide. These opportunities, yeah, and the way I coin it is recognizing and capturing capitalizing on opportunities. Keep an eye, keep an eye out for opportunities, for growth, for advancements within your current role through external awareness, productivity, seek and challenges, and push push. Okay, push you out for your comfort zone. Okay. I think one thing I wanted to talk about seeking opportunities for me is when we hear seek opportunities, what comes to mind is that we need to look for opportunities up. We need to look for opportunities up, right? We need to look for people who have advanced in their, sorry, like the network we share. We need to look for opportunities within people who are up here, people who are higher than us, people who are mid people who are, they have what we want. Let them give us opportunities, but that's not true. That's not true at all. Opportunities are everywhere. But as Simon Sinek, the author of Start With Why, coined it, is opportunity is really taking care of somebody by your left and somebody by your right. That's opportunity. You just take care of people around you, and you will see how opportunity would spread them. When I started, I'm just going to talk about opportunity for me, and I think one opportunity that I've encountered in my journey that have really blew my mind. When I started, I talked about what I do, right? I talk about what I do 9 to 5, but I also talk about what I do by the side. But what people do not know is that um, when I started, my thing, I needed to, at some point, I needed money. You can't do real estate and not have money. I needed money. And so I started looking for money, right? And I started asking all my rich friends, my rich folks, give me money, give me money. And, you know, let's just say, unfortunately, I couldn't get. But something interesting, interesting happened. Somebody that I've always knew in my neighborhood. I mean, I've always known him. We've always been talking. Guess his job role. He was a driver. He's a driver. He was a driver. And so by some chances, we started talking. In fact, I wasn't even talking to him. I was talking to a friend, and he happens to be in that space. Remember, this guy works as a driver in my neighborhood where I stay. And then he heard what I do, and then I believe he got interested. And then at the end of our conversation, he reached out to me and said, you know what, boss, I hear what you do. I hear you do XYZ. Could you explain more? And then at the end of our conversation, guess what? The guy was actually the first person who invested 3 million naira into the business. Like, guys, a driver in my neighborhood. And that was where my opportunity was lying. I was here, I was looking for opportunities in the high places. I was looking for opportunities where, my rich folks are. But I never knew that opportunity was really just in my area, in my corner, right? And in the most unlikely places that I would ever think about, that I would ever think of. So, guys, when you are seizing opportunities, it's not just seizing opportunities with people who you think they can give you more. Seize opportunities with people who you think you can actually give more. right? And the best way to seize opportunity is to be a good person. I can imagine if, and I can only imagine if that guy and I did not have a good relationship. If I have assumed, oh my God, you are a driver, I mean, how much is your salary to even start with? If I had assumed that, I can imagine if I would be able to unlock that opportunity, right? So seize opportunity, but seize opportunity with love, seize opportunity with respect, and with care. Take care of people by your side, by your right hand side, and take care of people left hand side. Next slide, Dara. We are almost done. Pushing and powering through. This slide is very, very important. This says mentor, sponsors, sponsor, guardian. And I put here, guide and be guided. You know what? You know that term now, always guide and be guided. But it says here, seek mentorship from experienced professional who can provide valuable advice, feedback, and support. And support as you progress in your career. Similarly, consider becoming a mentor and share knowledge and experience with people. I've always believed in a quote when it comes to mentorship, support, and guidance, and I would talk about the difference. But I've always believed in a quote that says, if you are in a room where if you are not in a room where decisions are made, you are outside where consequences are felt. It's just automatic. If you are not in that room where decisions are made, you are outside where consequences are felt. A good example is how many of us were in that room where the decisions about Naira redesign was made? And I think it happened last year. None of us, yet we all felt the consequences, right? How many of us were in the room where, I don't know, um, where some policies about Naira depreciation was made? None of us. Yet we are we are outside. We felt the appreciation of Naira against the appreciation rather of Naira against dollar, right? So always be guided when you're looking for mentors, always be guided when you're looking for sponsors, and always be guided when you're looking for guidance. So quickly, what's the difference between a mentor, a sponsor, and a guardian? A mentor we all know, right? Somebody who have done it before, and now you are learning from this person. This person is mentoring you, right? This person is telling you, look, I've done this before. I have done Lash. What they call it before? I've forgotten the industry now. I've done content creation before. Lash technician. Yeah. I think I will not forget that thing now. I've done Lash technician before. I'm now a guru in it. Now I can mentor you. Now I can show you the steps. A sponsor is somebody who speaks on your behalf, right? A sponsor is somebody who speaks on your behalf. Okay. Right. A sponsor is somebody who speaks on your, okay, I think there's a, oh, they asked me to share it. Okay. If you are not in the room where decisions are made, then you are outside where consequences are felt. If you are not in the room where decisions are made, then you are outside where consequences are felt. Yes. Mm. Yes. Right. So a sponsor is somebody who speaks on your behalf, right? We need a sponsor. We all need a sponsor, especially if you're working on your if you're really looking to work on your career journey. You need somebody that would always speak for you in rooms that you are not at, you cannot even be in that room, right? In rooms where I mean, if you're a Christian, we talk about, I mean, for Christians that are in the room, we talk about favor a lot of the time in our worship space, right? We talk about favor, the favor of God, the favor of men. You do need sponsors. You do need them. In fact, I would dare say that without sponsor, you can do it, but it will take you a lifetime. It will take you a lifetime to achieve what you achieve in 1 year without a sponsor. A sponsor is that person that mentions your room in your name in rooms that your leg cannot even walk. Your competency cannot even take you there. In fact, your credentials cannot even take you to the door. Yet somebody mentions your name in such room. But remember, that for somebody to mention your name, you have something valuable to offer. Remember our conversation about your name? Remember our conversation about what it means? For somebody to mention your name, it has to mean something. For somebody to mention your name, it has to mean something. Is that logged off again? No, I don't think so. I think Idara is one who is not on the call. Yeah. Okay. Right. Thank you, Idara. For somebody to mention your name has to mean something. So while you are here looking for sponsors, remember to be a good sponsor yourself. Remember that you need to build capacity that somebody can sponsor on. Nobody sponsors something that is not valuable. I mean, even you, I mean, I'm using you loosely now. I mean, you means everybody in this call. Will you sponsor somebody that would tarnish your image, that would tarnish your reputation, that would tarnish your name? Of course you would. Same way, the person you are looking to sponsor you will not sponsor you if you are not sponsorable. Let me use that word loosely. They won't sponsor you if you've not built that reputation, right? And building that reputation, I think we need to talk a little bit about this because I have enjoyed the benefit of being sponsored in my career. I have enjoyed the benefit of my name being mentioned in rooms that I have no idea that the room even exists. But I think if I can say one or two things that are very important for sponsors is one, reputation. Right? They would never sponsor you if you're going to tarnish their reputation. The best way to build reputation is to build competency. Let them know you for something. Are you the type that you come late? Something as small as that. Or are you the type that you don't keep to promises? Right? Some people they promise somebody something and then maybe rain fall and they just say, oh my God, the rain don't fall. I can't do this anymore. Or I'm not feeling too well today. I can't do this. They don't manage. Are you the type of person that you don't communicate, right? Um, what is somebody sponsoring you for? Because somebody will sponsor you on behalf, at least on the foundation of something for us to go back and learn from. A guardian, this person or group of people are very important. They may not have the capacity to sponsor you. Okay? They may not have the capacity for you to mentor on, but they guide you through the journey, right? They tell you, I am here. Go, don't worry, fall. I think the best people that I can place as guardians are our parents, for those of us who understand what I mean. Your mom might not have the quality or the level of education you have. Maybe your mom did not even finish secondary school, right? But I am sure that your mom would guide you through thick and thin, right? That your mom would always be there. I'm using mom now, I don't know why. Your dad. What happened to all the fathers? I'm a man. Your dad will guide you through thick and thin, right? Your dad will guide you through it all. Those are examples of guidance. Some of them are teachers, right? We know this teacher that will help you through. The teacher might not be as wealthy as you want him or her to be. He might not have the right connections to speak for you in rooms, but this teacher will guide you through any question and anywhere, on any part that you might have or you might be chatting on. Next slide, Dara. We're almost done. We are almost there. I know that a lot of us have questions. Yes. In conclusion, start your course to success. In conclusion, it says here, as you embark on your career journey, remember that success is not a destination, but a continuous pursuit by setting goals, acquiring skills, building relationships, and embracing opportunities you can unlock opportunities where you can unlock your full potential and achieve your professional aspiration. At this point, let me, if the network would not be terrible, let me show my face. Because I've said a lot, and I know a lot of people have joined in and out, and they are wondering what's going on here. In conclusion, this is what it means to chat, to look for to chart your career path. This is what it means to find your way. Like I mentioned earlier, even me have not found it yet. I'm still in that process. But that's the beauty of finding your career path, is the process that you have to endure. Is that opportunity that you need to wake up and seize every single day. Is that state of confusion that you don't know what is going on. And it's because of that confusion that you will need a mentor. It's because of that confusion that you will need a guardian. It's because of that confusion that you need somebody to speak for you, as a sponsor. All these still work together. Remember our conversation about setting smart goals. Remember our conversation about, speed versus velocity. Remember our conversation about our conversation about storytelling, what's your story, and all the books that we have put in place for you to read so that you can continue finding your career path, right? This is the end of my presentation. I think the last slide says question and answer. I will allow Idara do this question and answering thing. I don't know how she would like to do it. Do you want to take the question on the chat box? Do you want to take the question, if they raise up their hand? Idara, over to you. But thank you very much for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come share my 2 cents with you all. And very good morning to you all.
I have to change my background. Okay, so I'm sure that we have questions to ask.
Idara, if you're here, over to you. I'm not sure
Can you hear me?
is here.
Can anyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So please, let's thank Kingsley for what a wonderful workshop. I'm very sure that we've all learned a lot. It took a lot for him to be here with us, and now it's time for the Q&A. I'm sure that we all have questions that we want to ask Kingsley. So if you don't mind, you can drop your question in the chat box, but I will encourage that you come up with, because it's going to help you clarify yourself more and even express yourself more. So if you have any questions for Kingsley, now is the time to ask. And whatever questions you have concerning your career path, your career journey, even finding your potential, whatever that he has said that you feel like you're not clear on, kindly come up with and ask your questions. If you're still not comfortable, coming up with, you can ask it on the chat box. But I encourage that you come up with to ask your questions. But you have to raise your hand. You have to raise your hand for us to know who and who's asking the question. Okay, questions for Kingsley. Questions. Okay, I've seen somebody dropping a question in the chat box. Kingsley, maybe you can just take note of the question, or do you want me to read it out to you before you answer?
You can read it out, but I think I'm seeing the first one here. So my first question is, how about those who are interning? What category do they fall, please? Okay, that's a very good question. If you are interning, you honestly still do not have a job. You do not, because it's internship, there is no concrete employment offer yet. So you are currently in between job, right? You don't have a job yet. That's why you are an intern and not a staff, right? So you don't start assuming, oh, I'm a staff or I'm a staff until you are given a letter, an offer letter or an employment letter. You are not a staff. How do you source for fund for small businesses? That's a very interesting question. I think that's the first one. How do we get more audience or people for your product if you can't afford to do online advertisements? Right. That's a very good one. How do you source for fund for small businesses? You start from your circle. You start from your friends and family. That's how you source for fund. A small business, no matter how small it is, if you call it a business, which means it's a profitable venture, right? Even if you are not making any money yet, show potential for your business, right? Source of funds from your friends. You know, I wish this is a funding conversation. There is a lot to talk about here. One of the things you can do is what we call in the funding community, we call it a breakup fund. A breakup fund is where you source for fund in a smaller what do I call it now? Smaller batches. Yeah. So say for example, you are looking for 1 million naira. Instead of looking for, I don't know, one person that can give you 1 million, you look for, say, um 5 people that can give you 200K, right? Or 10 people that can give you 100K, or 20 people that can give you 50K, right? So it's called a breakup fund. Some ways. I mean, you can use breakup fund, especially if you know the kind of network you have or the kind of family or friends you have. Maybe your friends cannot afford to invest 1 million naira or so in your business now, but they can afford the 50K, can afford the 200 or 150 or 100K, right? You can use breakup fund to fund your business. But remember, your business has to show potential, right? Even though it's 50K, they still want to see that their money. The second one, if I'm not correct, is how do you advertise your business if you can't afford online? How do you advertise your business if you can't afford your online? Obviously you do offline. But if you can't afford online, you do offline. You have to be strategic offline, right? A part of being strategic offline is you I saw this guy who was trying to advertise water, and then it took the water to the beach, and then he wrote on a what's it called now, on a placard saying you can't drink salt water, here's the water for you. It's just as simple as that, right? You can't drink salt water, here's the water for you, right? And so be strategic, be very creative around it. Again, you can also take advantage of your family and your friends as well, right? And I don't know what your business is. Um, if it's makeup, for example, you know, take advantage of those of your friends or family that like going to church. Make up for them every Sunday when they go to church. Make up for them every Sunday when they go to church. And then tease them. Say something like, oh, I don't know, if your makeup gets a 10 comments today in church, you pay me 10K. Or if it gets a 5 comments, I mean, yes, obviously they won't get it, but you're already registering it in their mind, right? And guess what? They would psychologically, they will start looking for 5 people that would comment on their network. And they would not hesitate to mention your name. Oh, yeah, it's my cousin, it's my friend that did this for me. Before you know it, right? I think Idara, there's a lot of conversation here. I don't know if I'm taking the right question now. Uh, Idara, can you help me out? Yeah. The last question I'm seeing here is saying, thank you so much, Kingsley. My question is, how do I go about the mentorship, guidance, and support in my career journey? Is that
Okay, so Kingsley, I don't know if that Abibat's question. How do you know your career potential? Sometimes
okay?
I feel lost. She asked the question, Habibat, just
Oh,
before
great.
Rachel.
Habibat, I am so sorry. I must have missed that. How do you go about it? Sometimes you feel lost. I mentioned a little bit about it at the beginning of the call, beginning of the meeting. I say that the best way to go about it, especially if you feel lost, is to um first determine what you would not do. think a part of us feeling lost, sometimes we call this lost, is actually an overwhelming state, right? Where there is a lot of things you don't know what you want to do, right? Don't start from there. There's a lot that you don't know. Start from what you know that you would not do. What have you tried that you know that you would not do, right? Have you tried baking and then you know that baking is not for me and my ancestors? Have you tried driving and you know, no, driving is not for me? Have you tried I don't know, agriculture? Have you tried content creation, skit making? What have you not done? Right? Let's start from there because it makes it easier to start saying, okay, if I can't do this, I can't waste energy on this. And so I would cut my paths to what I can do. Another way you can find it is to ask yourself a couple of realistic questions, like what do I enjoy doing? Right? What do I enjoy doing? Do I enjoy talking? Do I enjoy listening? Do I enjoy, I mean, one of the, for me, for example, one of the ways I knew what I wanted to do is I realized that even in what I do, there are some things in what I do that I do not want to do, right? I mentioned to you guys earlier that I am a project coordinator, put simply, in what I do, but I also said that I don't like the operational part of it. I don't like the gathering data part of it. I just don't like the operational part of it. It's not what I do, right? But I like the strategic part of it. I like the thinking and talking part of it, right? So it's really just how you find yourself with the day-to-day thing that you are doing. Do you find yourself talking more in conversations? Does that mean that you really like talking? Some people will say, I like teaching, right? But really, they really do not like teaching. Um, they just like stretching thoughts. You know, some people like stretching thoughts. They like creating thoughts that can stretch, right? So really just find yourself back to what you do on a daily pattern. Find your pattern. Yes, that's the word I'm using. I'm looking for. Find your pattern. What's your pattern? Look at your week, the last 2 weeks. Look at your month, the last month, and find, understand what you have been doing consistently without stress, right? You must have been doing something. Maybe it's you talking on phone to a friend and start asking yourself, why am I always talking to this person? Why does this topic triggers me? Why do I enjoy this topic, right? And that could just be your way of finding your career path within that topic. I think the last thing I would mention to your last thing I would say to your question is your career path shouldn't, I think I mentioned it shouldn't be rigid. Your career path shouldn't be set on stone. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, right? So they say things like, I want to be a teacher and that is it. But then what if you can't be a teacher, but you can be a facilitator, right? And some people will say, I want to do accounting and that is it. Or I want to work in a bank and that is it. But what if you can do accounting, but you won't work in the bank? Or what if you can be an accountant for a hospitality company? you know, so don't set your career on stone. Enjoy what you do, but leave room for wonder. I think that's what I can say to that question.
Okay, thank you very much, Kingsley. The second question, I think, is from Rachel. Rachel is saying, my question is, how do I go about mentorship, guidance, and support in my career journey? So I think I would, Kingsley can speak more to that question, but I will also add to what Kingsley is going to say. So I don't know if you were at when we started this Zoom meeting. I also shared that part of the benefits for being a WAVE alumni is that we free career coaching services. So it's clear that you probably don't know how to access mentorship, how to access support in your career journey. We at WAVE, the Alumni Affairs and Career Support Department is always going to be here to give you support. All you have to do is just to book a career coaching session with us. I will drop a number that you should send a text message to, and the link will be shared on how to go about booking a career coaching session with us. This answers part of your question, Rachel. So Kingsley, you can answer the other parts. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Idara. And that's a very, very interesting question. It's really an honest question. It starts with you. That's the honest truth. It starts with you, right? Um, you have to be, and I keep mentioning that, you have to be willing, number one. And willing is not just, oh, I'm willing, I want to do this. You have to be willing internally, number one. You have to be willing to let go of pride, for example, because I mean, nobody can mentor a pride, a boastful person or somebody with ego issues. You have to be willing to let go of what you think you know, right? You have to be willing to learn, to take very harsh feedback, right? Because yes, you can find these mentors, sponsors. I mean, you can DM Idara, and Idara can link you up to a mentor all you want. But if you're not willing to even let go of your beliefs, you are not willing to let go of all these things you've held very tight in your heart, there is nothing a mentor can really do, right? Nothing. That's for mentorship. So mentorship is first you have to be willing. Everything still falls back to you internally. And once you have done that internally, you can then start reaching out to potential. And it's something I learned about mentorship that blew my mind recently. And it is, if you are seeking mentorship, do not seek too high. A lot of people think that a mentor should be a a a mentor that have the or that have achieved it all. No, the person that have achieved it all cannot mentor you, right? Because why would they mentor you? They've achieved it all, right? Um, for example, I don't know how many people here who know Mrs. Ibuku Awochika. She can be your mentor. Mrs. Ibuku Awochika, she's a former chairman of First Bank. She can't mentor you because you are not speaking the same language as she is in the space that she is. And she can't mentor you because it's just too far away. So rather than looking for a Mrs. Ibuku Awoshika, look for somebody who is just in that starting block that is on the same career path to Mrs. Ibuku Awoshika. I mean, that's the career path you want to have. For example, if you need a mentorship in banking, for example, Tony Lumelu cannot be your mentor. Tony Lumelu's life, Tony Lumelu's story can inspire you, but he can't mentor you because his career journey is very far different from your career journey as it stands. But maybe you want to look for somebody who is in banking, maybe who is the assistant manager in the bank, right? To mentor you because this person have relatable stories to you. This person understands where you are. He or she understands your journey as it stands, right? Um, Maybe you need somebody who is in the HR in a branch. These are ways to look for mentors. You don't have to seek so too high. For sponsors, so interestingly, you somehow do not look for sponsors. Sponsors find you. Interestingly, you don't look. I mean, you don't go around saying sponsor me, sponsor me. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. You don't look for sponsors. Sponsors find you. But one of the ways sponsors find you is through character building, right? Sponsors find you if you have inspired them enough to believe in you, right? So please do not go about looking for sponsors. Rather, be guided, be in your lane, do your thing, respect people, honor people. For those of us who are church, who attend church, we would relate a lot with you doing church activity and somebody somewhere is looking at you and admiring your work ethics, and you don't know that this person is putting in work for you. That's how sponsorship work, right? It is not you meeting people to say sponsor me, sponsor me. No, it doesn't work that way, right? People will tell you that people are watching, keep doing, people are watching, and it's true, people are watching. But the people that are watching are not mentors. Mentors do not have time to watch you. The people that are watching are not guardians. Guardians are they're too involved to watch you. The people that are watching you are sponsors, right? They are the one watching you. They are seeing your day-to-day move. They are seeing how you talk to people. They are seeing how you, they are seeing how you they are seeing how you relate with people. They are seeing your energy. They see your body movement, your language. They are watching, right? At the end of the day, all these things is what they what forms a bias or an assumption or a perception in their mind that they will sponsor you on a room, or that they might either sponsor you in a room or not. For guardians are guardians, right? Guardians are people that are very close to you. It could be your boss at work, it could be your parents, it could be your teacher. Guardians are too up close that they can't see the bigger picture. I think that's one thing you can take away from guardians. They're too up close that they can't see the bigger picture, because their role is to guide you. So while looking for guardians, find them in family, find them in your workplace, find them in your space, in your school, wherever it is. They are not, they are what, I mean, I'm a Christian, so they are what we Christians would call burden bearers. They bear your burden. You might not see them every day. They might not look like it. They might not act or talk like it, but be rest assured that they would guide you through thick and thin. That's how you find sponsors, mentors, and guides.
Okay, thank you very much, Kingsley, for answering this question. Someone in the chat box actually said, Gloria, or Glory, I think so. She said she begs to differ a little. So just emphasis on a little. So maybe she can come up with and share her perspective. Maybe it's going to help us to understand why she differs from what you said and exactly what she differs from. I mean, it's why we are here. We're here to all learn and share our different perspectives to actually come out better and knowledgeable. So, Glory, if you can come up with and share why you beg to differ, it would be awesome. So, Oshashere is saying, I have another question. I think this will be the last question because I think our time is fast spent. How do you deal with bullies in the corporate environment? Please, Kingsley. Maybe you can make this question short so that we can move on to the next thing like that. Kingsley, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Glory. I really love to hear Glory's side. Very interesting. I really like to hear what you differ from the game. We learn every day. How do you deal with bullies in the corporate world? This is quite interesting, but when I hear questions like this, I am very careful in answering, because sometimes what we call bullying is is somebody pushing you to something great, right? Sometimes we don't like discomfort, and anything that appears to be discomfort, we tag it bullying. But let's assume that it's a real bully. Especially in the corporate world, it means they can only bully you from two ways. I mean, they can be more than two, but two main ways. The first is through politics, office politics, and the second is through authority. Maybe the person is higher than you in rank. The person has authority over you, right? Or the person might not have authority over you, but is playing office politics, right? It's playing what we call eye service and all that. That's some of the ways bullying can happen in the corporate space. So how do you deal with that? Right? The first thing is you have to recognize that you have allowed it to happen. If it's these two things, right? Except is any other thing. So that's why I'm being careful in answering this question. If it's office politics, the first thing to recognize is you have allowed it to happen. You have allowed yourself to play in these politics they are playing. And the reason why you are acknowledging that is now you can then start tracking back, right? Remember, you're not even going to them yet. It's you. First, if somebody is playing politics that is now obvious to me, the first thing I tell myself is, okay, I have allowed myself to play in this game. How do I start tracking back, right? Tracking back could mean, how do I start structuring my communication pattern better, right? Maybe this person is very quick to talk and I can't defend myself. How do I learn assertiveness? How do I begin to defend myself, right? I mean, this is if the person is playing office politics. If it's a case where somebody is above you in rank and the person is taking advantage of their role or taking advantage of their power, right? I mean, depending on the organization, the first thing is the best and the first and best thing to do is to report them to the superior or to somebody higher than them. But before you report them to somebody higher than them, you can, I don't, it depends on the scenario, but you can first report them to their peers, somebody they listen to. That's the first thing to do. Because the person they listen to would obviously have bigger impact in talking to them. But if that doesn't work, you can start reporting them to somebody higher than them. And use email. Email is very, very fun. We don't take advantage of email a lot, right? In email keeps record a lot. So dealing with bullying is not something you want to experience, but if you do experience it, it is very common if it is office politics. There is nothing wrong with office politics, by the way. You just don't want to play dirty. You don't want to play in that game. And so you have to be very, very assertive. You have to know your boundaries, build standard, be very assertive, no matter how junior you are. There are some things you shouldn't take. There are some things you should die for. Things like values, right? Respect. I mean, I can't create values for you. You have to look for those things for yourself. But remember, if you wouldn't play in that politics, don't play. Right? A lot of people say, no, I don't want to be in this, I don't want to play in this, but yet they are playing in that politics, they're gossiping in that politics, they are backbiting in that politics and all. If you wouldn't play in that politics, do not play. So when somebody plays that politics to you, you can assertively bounce them back, right? That's how I know you can deal with bullies in the workplace.
Okay, thank you so much, Kings. This clarifies for you. This clarifies for you, Osha Sharon. Thank you so much, Kingsley. So I don't know if we've been going through the chat box, but I have dropped a feedback form for all of us to fill. So I will do that again so that we can all be cautiously aware this time. This feedback form, honestly, is for us to get Kingsley's slide. And aside that, we also value your feedback. So any feedback that you give is a way for us to improve on our next workshop. So your feedback, we are also going to be sharing the slide with you. And also, we are also going to be sharing airtime as a way of telling you thank you for staying through and ending this session with us. We are going to be sharing airtime. So whoever fills that feedback form, also, we are going to be sending you free airtime. So before we end this session, I know that I said that we're going to have interactive session with ourselves, and our time is already fast spent. So just two people will come off mute and just share. So we have a way of saying thank you at Waves. And the way that we say thank you is by sharing what you learned in this session, is basically show that you listen and you understand and appreciate Kingsley's efforts in coming on to share his knowledge with us. So just two persons quickly come off mute and share what you learned during the session. Thank you. Just two people, please. We are waiting. I'm sure that we learned a lot. So who can come off mute quickly and share what we learned? Anyone? So while we are waiting for people to come off mute, I think Glory shared her perspective. We are close to digital personnel in a diverse perspective. Whether we know it or not, there are other ways to get levels of mentorship on top personalities at various grounds, clubs, meeting, looking closely at my level of quality, but not a headline, personal opinion. Yes, it fosters team and growth in it tools and ground to make mistakes. And we are bound to make mistakes. I think that was true. But we need someone who has really gone through it as a forefront to mentor us. One thing I know is if we are close to them, they give us one of mentorship, which comes with stories and all the message in easy to learn. it is for you to pick after that and outsource. Okay, amazing. I understand where you're going to go, and I agree. Yeah. So anyone would like to come up and share what they've learned, just briefly. It doesn't have to be a long thing, just one thing that stood out to you in the session. There are a lot of people on the call. We have like 64 people, so nobody can come up with and share what they have learned. Okay, thank you very much, Perry, for being brave enough. And you can come up with and tell Kingston thank you. Wave me.
Okay. Good morning, everyone again. Thank you so much, Kingsley, for the section. It was very enlightening. I learned a lot, and some key takeaways. In charting the course of our career path, one thing is to set smart goals, like achievable goals. First of all, know what you want to do. Even if you do not know what you want to do at that particular point, just go at it. Along the way, you will find it. And set smart goals, then seek out relevant opportunities. Always be guided when seeking out mentorship. That really stood out to me because there are lots of funny things going on out there, happening out there. So always be guided when seeking out mentorship. Look for good opportunities, sponsorship, also resilience. Yes, that part also stood out to me. One thing that will always propel us is resilience. If you are not resilient, you cannot really go far because there are times you will encounter maddening challenges. And if you decide to quit at that point, then really you cannot go forward. It cannot be propelled because when you decide to go forward, when you decide to push, no matter what happens, then it strengthens you, it propels you. So, yeah, these are some of the things I learned this morning. Thank you so much again.
Okay, thank you so much, Prayer, for sharing your thoughts. Who else again? Your thank you to Kingsley. Who else again would like to go? A second person? A second person. I'm seeing Godwin, I'm seeing Obasheyi. There are a lot of people on this phone, 63 people. And only Pere, okay, I'm seeing Obasheyi. Okay, Obasheyi, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. First off, thank you for taking us to the United States of America and into the Google office to let us know that Google exists to do no harm. To truly say, even Google search couldn't answer that question. Even if I thought to actually get part of the vision and mission of Google, which was something I found so interesting that we don't usually do as individuals. A lot of us actually just take it for granted that, well, of what use is a vision, for instance. And when we're actually thinking of getting it done, we just take it hurriedly. We take things sometimes that we like. We take things that we sometimes feel, "Oh, yes, it's cool, it sounds cool." But being very philosophical really counts when we're looking at our vision. And that's actually the first thing I learned. And I'm grateful for this, Kingsley. There are quite a lot I learned too. And it's so interesting that I'm sure even if I'll sleep, I'll dream about this class again. And I really would love to actually have more of this. It's the first one. I wish I started like 13 years ago with Wave, which means I started even before Wave started originally. Just 2013. It's beautiful to be here and I'm grateful. Part of the other things I actually picked up because I first thought that, okay, maybe because the lecture is actually going to give us something later, so I shouldn't jot. But when we went in, I just had to make sure I put something down. The book, The Lean Startup, which is essential to building our career, I wrote down build your dream, learn from it, and start all over again. To truly say, I've always thought that a dream or a goal, a career goal is a continuous thing. And the essential part in which you shared that starting or picking a new career is actually not a risk, but it's actually something unknown. And it simply means you are open to an opportunity to gain first experience and every other thing that comes from it. And I'm happy to know that Kingsley knew what he wanted, what he loved, which is money. And I hope on your journey you're planning to actually build your billions by building billionaires too. Although the very beautiful thing is that we all have our dreams, we all have our goals, we all have our ideas. But that which is key is that a lot of other people do. And how do we actually achieve it while others to achieve theirs? Networking. And where that networking is that you'll get to see those who have achieved theirs and those who haven't even started yet. And that leads to that part which I also gained by understanding that, yes, our stories are yet to be written. So we should craft our stories, which are part of what we're also shared. I can go on along trying to give a summary, and it would be like starting the whole thing all again, all over again. So I just want to say thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have this class, and most especially to learn a little more about Kingsley again. Thank you so much for it. Thank you so much, Idara. I hope we'll get to learn a little more about you too, Idara. Do have a
Of course.
beautiful day.
Okay, thank you very much, Obashe, for sharing what you learned, Kingsley. So everybody in the chat box, just tell Kingsley thank you. In any way that you want to. So thank you so much, Kingsley, for coming on this workshop. So much. We had a great number of over 70 people in this workshop, which we did amazing with the number. So thank you so much, Kingsley, for coming once again. So let's have Kingsley by as he goes on to do other activities that he has planned out for today. Thank you so much, Kingsley, and have a lovely and wonderful week and day. Okay, so it's just us.